What is going on, you guys? It is another episode of the Sci-Fly Zone where the multiverse meets the seventh inning stretch. It's your boys Trenton and CJ, and today's destination is taking us back to Wonder Man. We're going to be breaking down episodes 3 and 4, and honestly, these episodes gave us a lot more insight into Simon's backstory and also a bit more backstory into the industry that Simon is working in.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was impressed by the first two episodes of this show. They were able to get a lot of stuff in two half-an-hour episodes. I felt like they were able to do even more in these last two. Episodes 3 and 4 have been packed. There is a lot going on. There's a lot of backstory, a lot of information that we're learning, not only about Simon Williams and his family, but about the industry in general. So yeah, it was a great watch, and I'm looking forward to breaking it down.
Me too. So let's get right into it. Episode 3 opens with a flashback to Simon at the doctor's after a fire broke out in their home, and we see his older brother Eric. Let's go. We're really hoping to see him in the show because he's a pretty big character to Simon in the comics. So it's really awesome to see him here, and we'll see the grown-up version of him later. And obviously in the comics he was a Grim Reaper, so it'd just be cool if they set him up to be that somehow in this show. I feel like it's more likely that they won't, and maybe he'll just not like him as a regular guy rather than becoming the villain, the Grim Reaper, which feels like something would have to like change his brain to like make him want to be a super villain on that level, because everyone in the show thinks Eric is the nice guy. So something's got to change in him.
Yeah, his family situation is going pretty well right now. It's going better than Simon's, which we'll get into. So yeah, there would definitely have to be something drastic for him to get into that sort of mindset. I think it would be awesome if we got to see live action Grim Reaper. It might be tough to do it in this series because there's already a lot going on, and to add another element with him being a supervillain as well would be a lot, although it'd be super cool to see. I really hope we get that at some point.
Yeah, me too. It would be cool, and it would make sense, like family stuff, can always work in superhero stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we find out their father died really young, unfortunately, and fire also destroyed the kitchen. Two separate incidents, but fire destroyed the kitchen, and this incident should have arguably really hurt Simon based on the burns that we see on his clothes, but he's totally fine, and he didn't inhale any smoke either. So since we now know that he's had his powers since he was really young, my main question is, I wonder if Simon's powers actually caused the fire instead of just improper stove usage, because it definitely seems like they're alluding to the fact that his powers caused the kitchen fire.
Yeah, it really does seem like they're kind of hinting at that. Even the doctor questions at one point, like it was the oven, right? It was the stove. It wasn't
Yeah.
anything weird. You don't have superpowers, do you? So yeah, I feel like that's likely how that fire started, and I hope we get to see a flashback of it actually going down, because they've talked about it a lot, and it seems to be very crucial to the plot.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. And we've also seen that his powers not only provide heavy force, but also high temperatures, because it looks like stuff can melt. So that would be online with fire.
Yeah, that would check out. I mean, we saw what he did to his wall, and doing that around some electrical stuff and some dangerous stuff like kitchen equipment like that could make it even worse.
Yep, but we cut to present day, and the Department of Damage Control is having a meeting with some of their agents, and they're complaining that they're not arresting enough superpowered people. The prison is half empty, and the empty part means wasted money in the government's eyes, and that is bad. So Agent Cleary is now going to be pressing much harder on Trevor to get evidence on Simon, and threatens him with immediate jail time for not getting it done, which I kind of feel for Trevor being forced into this. And at the same time, I also kind of enjoy seeing more of a serious side to Agent Cleary because he's pretty funny most of the time. So it's good that they're balancing that out.
Yeah, it is. They're able to do a lot of different things with him, and I like how he's been sort of the serious side of the DDC and like threatening Trevor. And Trevor is like very clearly conflicted about this, and he doesn't feel good about doing this. Like, isn't this like kind of stepping over the line? This doesn't feel right. And Cleary says, "Well, if you don't do it, you can just go back to prison." And Trevor was like, "That wasn't part of the deal at first." And obviously, Cleary
Don't care, don't care, don't care, still don't care. I don't care, I don't.
yeah, yeah, does not care. So yeah, it's a really tough situation for Trevor where he has to do some bad things.
Yeah, but Cleary shows all of his evidence that they have on Simon, and it is not much. They just have photos from the kitchen fire and just a separate incident that happened a year prior, which resulted in a exploded and melted porta potty, which that's a pretty crappy situation. So since they have so little, Trevor's being forced to wear a wire, like CJ mentioned, to see if they can say anything that can incriminate him. And we cut to Simon and Trevor. They're just hanging out in Simon's apartment, and Simon's just waiting on his callback from Von Kovac. And Janelle's like, yo, stop asking. I will tell you, but if you keep asking me, I'm gonna delete your number. And Simon is obviously like understandably a bit impatient about this because like now, like on rewatch, he probably didn't want to go to his family's party with no good news.
Yeah, that is fair because obviously he was fired from American Horror Story. They don't know about that. So he wants to have something good that he can talk about. He wants to impress them, you know?
Yeah. And Trevor's really supportive about like the possible idea of Simon not getting the job. He's like, they'd be dumb not to hire you. And if they didn't, it's a movie that you wouldn't want to be a part of anyway. I also like that he gave him the advice like, hey, just because like you're not getting an answer to this role doesn't mean you can't act. Like you can go act in other things. Like this doesn't have to stop you from acting. And remember, your job as an actor is to act, not to land roles. And their dynamic is so interesting because of like the Department of Damage Control trying to like incriminate him, but like all they talk about is non-incriminating stuff.
Yeah, they actually enjoy each other's presence, and it's not like just a job for Trevor. And he's been such a good like acting coach and teacher for Simon. Obviously, Simon has been in the industry for a long time, and he's an incredible actor. But there are some things that Trevor knows and that he's knowledgeable about just because he's been in it for so much longer than Simon has. And like he has a lot of knowledge that he can provide for Simon, and it really is helpful to him. So I like seeing stuff like that.
Yeah, same. And like it's not even just like stuff that he can apply to acting, it's stuff he can apply to just life in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they get on the topic of theater, they just start like reciting lines to each other. And this is just like another like good moment between two guys who just love the craft. And I love like seeing people just like kind of be in the moment and doing what they love to do and doing it really well, especially these two, because as we watch more of the episodes, we kind of come to realize that like neither of these guys really had a lot of, if any, real friends growing up. So like them being able to have like this space for each other is probably something that they both really appreciate.
Yeah, they're able to be there for each other. And yeah, I like the scene. Just two really good actors nerding out about film and acting and reciting lines to each other. Anytime they're acting in a scene it's really good. It's so good.
Yeah, and it's also cool to see like a superhero show in 2026 give such respect to like the practice of theater.
Yeah, yeah, it is really cool. I feel like they've done a good job at balancing the superhero stuff and the Hollywood stuff and like filmmaking and the kind of behind the scenes of that. It doesn't really feel like it's too much one or the other. I think it's a good balance.
I totally agree. So Trevor gets himself invited to Simon's mom's birthday party. Simon initially was like, why do you want to come? And he's like, hey, you know what? You could be my buffer, so let's go buffer. And I also like the subtle world building that they did on the drive over to Pacoima. That was so cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. I really like some of the shots they have of the city and the environment, stuff like that.
Yeah. So they show up to mom's house and she's so sweet. I love her. She's just the sweetest Haitian mother you could ever ask for. And I love that she's like welcoming of Trevor and immediately compliments his outfit. And just, she's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. I love her immediately. Just right away, she's great. So loving to Simon. So excited to see him. And like you said, very welcoming of Trevor. Very excited that Simon has a friend over, and we will learn later on why she is so excited about that.
Yeah, it kind of seems like after Simon's dad died, his mom kind of overcompensates the love that she gives for him. Because it seems like Eric was able to hold himself up a bit easier than Simon was. So I feel like she's like extra nurturing to him, which they'll talk more about that idea and that situation later on.
Yeah, they'll get to that. But yeah, it does kind of feel like I'm glad you mentioned that because it does sort of feel like she's like trying to give the love of two people when she's like just herself. Like she's trying to, like you said, like show the love that his dad would be showing to him as well if he was still here. And also maybe with like him being the younger son and not seeing him as much, there's like something with that too. But yeah, she's a great mom.
Yeah, and also, I mean, she even takes responsibility for the fire as well, even though in reality it definitely could have been those two or even just Simon.
Yeah,
But Simon's mom also mentions Eric, his older brother, and I got hyped. And when I saw this guy is a freaking unit.
Yeah, this guy, this is a big dude. He is yeah,
They picked a really good guy for the older brother.
yeah, it was a great casting option. From what I've seen him do on this show, he's been great, and he would be a really cool Grim Reaper. He would be sick, like just the body build. Like this guy's intimidating wearing a button-up shirt. So if he's the Grim Reaper, then dude, that would be on another level.
Yeah, I would be scared to throw hands against that man.
100%.
The show also did a really good job, like immediately establishing some like tension between these two. And also, like, to go back to my point on how Simon's mom is very nurturing of him, immediately when they have a disagreement, Simon's mom goes to Simon's side, like, oh, we don't need the whipped cream. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like she's trying to keep him happy in a way, or like keep him calm. I guess we've seen what happens when he loses his cool. So it's good that she's kind of trying to keep him at bay.
Yeah. And also, Eric is just super sus of Trevor, which I understand. I would be too if I didn't know how sociable he was and also how much he's changed since he's been the Mandarin. Like, why are you bringing this guy to mom's birthday, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, he kind of had a point there. I can't blame him for questioning Trevor Slattery being there.
Yeah. But yeah, since Simon's mom is so sweet and is a better buffer than Trevor is, she asks Eric to, hey, just give Trevor a tour of the house. Just be nice, give him a tour, just see how it goes. And Eric shows off the new island that he built with a built-in fridge. Really nice. He did a great job. It would be a shame if something happened to it later in the episode.
Yeah, that would be terrible. I'm sure it's going to be fine. But yeah, man, this kitchen looks great. Great renovation. His mom says, I've always wanted an island. I've always wanted an island. So yeah, happy for her, man. That's great.
Yeah, the island looks great, and Eric's definitely a multifaceted individual. Like, they established a lot of layers to him very early on, which is like a really good job to the show.
Yeah, they really gave him a lot of depth, like very quickly on screen.
Yeah. So the topic of the kitchen fire comes out, and Trevor wants to know all about it. And Eric clocks this, and he's like, why do you want to know about the fire? And Trevor's just so good at coming off as just the curious guy who he just wants to know the family history, make some connection. But this show like just shows that like the fire really like damaged the whole family's dynamic.
Yeah, it did. It really changed the way that their family works. And it kind of seems like they haven't totally worked through that situation. It seems like they don't want to talk about it. They want to just push it under the rug. I get that, like, it's kind of a sensitive topic and you don't want to maybe talk about it with this guy that you're meeting for the first time, but yeah, it does seem like it's still affecting them to this day.
Yep, gotta go to therapy.
Yeah.
But as the party starts, Trevor's interviewing other family and neighbors, and he's discovering that Eric is actually the one that people preferred, growing up and over time, and that Simon was pretty quiet and no one really got along with him too well. And on top of that, people who are talking to Simon at the party are not exactly being respectful to him either. So I just kind of feel bad for him, man.
Yeah, man, I feel really bad for him. Like, his family members clearly like picking Eric over him, and even telling Simon's new friend that they're picking Eric over him. Like, that's kind of brutal. And his cousins like talking trash directly to his face because they don't think he speaks Haitian Creole. It's tough for him, man. He feels very alone, even though he's surrounded by so many people because they've been pushing him away.
Yep. And Simon's like starting to notice that Trevor's like lurking around, like, hey, where are you? You're supposed to be my buffer. And he's just, again, he's so good at playing it off. Just be like, oh, I'm just so excited to meet everyone. And even when he like finds himself in one of the bedrooms, he's able to talk his way out of it. I mean, quite the actor this one is.
Yeah, man, he's very convincing. I mean, the relationship that he's built with Simon up to this point, like, Simon wants to believe him, even if it feels like he's telling a lie. He doesn't want to believe that he's lying to him.
Yeah, and I think if the lie were to continue into next episode, it would have gone.
Yeah, it would have been bad.
Yeah, and also just seeing a little bit of history and culture that like the family does have, like on the positive side of things. it is really wholesome and nice. Like that little saying that they said about the chicken and the sauce. Like that, I love that little piece.
Yeah, that was nice. They said their dad saying when he would cook food, and I did like that aspect a lot because even though there is tension between them, they bond over the memory of their dad, and I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, like I think that little clip right there might have been the happiest Simon has ever been in the entire show.
Yeah, I think yeah, you might be right. That was yeah, man.
While they're eating, Eric is flexing his insurance company success. Better watch out. Don't get too successful, Eric. But he offers Simon a job. And this turns into acting isn't a real job. And if it were, it isn't for you. And you need to wake up and get a real job and help this family instead of leeching off mom type of argument. And I do like that Trevor tried to defend Simon, kind of like how Simon defended Trevor in the earlier episode. And his mom even like supported the defense too, which I thought was interesting because Eric has been nothing but contrarian to everything that Simon and Trevor have been saying to him. But his mom is like still trying to support and love him despite that, which that's why I love the mom so much. Like she's just trying to do the freaking best she can, man. And these two brothers just got beef. It's so tough.
Yeah, yeah, man. She just wants to support her kids, and like she just wants them to be happy and to help make them happy. Like she's very sweet, and I like that. I really like that Trevor was backing up Simon here because of, like you said, how Simon was backing him up against Joey Pants back in episode 2. So kind of like paying him back in a way, or like showing that he does care for him actually in a way. I don't think that was necessarily part of the show of like trying to get information. It felt like Trevor actually meant that, sure.
Yeah. And then Eric's just like, why you here, man?
yeah.
What do you know here? How long you know my brother? What, 2 days? So then Trevor's just like, I'm gonna go take a lap. Be right back. So then everyone's outside while Trevor was doing his lap or whatever, and his mom finds herself back inside doing dishes, and Trevor and Simon's mom have a really nice moment. We get a nice bit of context as to how Simon really felt growing up, and that obviously has a lot to do with like who you become as an adult. And she just said like, he's really only told me like he appreciates that I love him one time in his whole life, and I never really thought like how much he was uncomfortable with being lonely. It seemed like he was very comfortable being alone, but that whole conversation like really opened her eyes to like how he really feels with the loneliness, and how much Trevor is like a really awesome change for that. It's almost like a stab in the heart in a way, because Trevor only got there because the Department of Damage Control told him to go.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. This was a powerful scene, dude. We got a lot of background here. We learned a lot about Simon. This is the first time that he's ever brought a friend over. They never meet his friends. He didn't necessarily feel lonely as a kid growing up, but he was alone, like he was secluded. He was pushing people away. He was getting pushed away by people. And she also mentions like this is part of why he loves film so much and has all these posters of movies and TV shows on the wall, because it makes him feel less alone when he's like able to engage in this world and be entertained by it and put himself in it. And also it reminds him of his dad, because they have great memories at the movies as well. So yeah, man, this was heavy, and I feel bad for Simon and for Trevor, because like you said, Simon wouldn't have been able to bring a friend over if that friend wasn't told to stab him in the back, basically. And Trevor doesn't want to do that, especially after hearing his mom talk about him.
Yeah, and I'm sure like actually after Trevor showed up, he was happy that he was there to a degree.
Yeah, he seemed like he had a good time.
Yeah. But yeah, so after the party's over, Simon and Trevor are heading out, but can't have a birthday without a birthday gift, and the birthday party with a birthday gift.
Happy birthday.
And and Simon gifts an ice cream maker to his mom. And Eric's like, how did broke boy get you this? So the truth has to come out about Simon getting fired from American Horror Story. Simon said it wasn't his fault, which I think is about 50% true, because it wasn't his fault until like asked questions like the 4th time around.
Yeah, there was definitely some things he probably could have done differently
Hmm.
that could have gotten to keep the job, but they also didn't really handle him very well.
Yeah, unfortunately. So now Eric is just like, I freaking knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. I'm watching a rerun of the same episode and I am tired of it. And he makes some crazy accusations against Simon. Like, you don't care about the family. You care about yourself. And you just want to goof off playing actor. And he gets him riled up to the point where Simon has to release all that pent up energy inside of him and just destroys the island. And now, for a second time, has destroyed the kitchen. But this time, there are witnesses. And I feel bad for Simon.
Yeah, man, I feel bad for him too. This whole day, the party overall was just such a poor experience for him, and it was all building up at some point, and we know what happens when Simon is pent up and anxious and upset. As they were starting to build up to it, I was like, no, please, Simon, please don't.
At some point, it seemed like he decided that he needed to do it.
Yeah, it did feel pretty. I don't want to say it feels intentional that he broke the island, but it feels intentional that he needed to get out his aggression. It just happened that it was on the island.
Yeah,
Like,
I think if it wasn't going to be a direct burst from a punch down, it might have just been like a general outward explosion similar to the apartment, which would have been immensely worse.
it would have spread across the whole house.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is best case scenario, but it wasn't worst.
Yeah, it could have been worse, but it is still a very, very bad situation for Simon.
Yeah. So they drive off and they park to talk. And when Simon is like sitting in the car just venting with Trevor about the whole thing, the circumstances, initially when Trevor was saying like, hey, you don't have to talk about it, I thought Trevor was trying to reverse psychology and play the hell out of Simon to talk more because, Trevor was so insistent on trying to get info at the party that I thought he kind of just committed to the info part. But now, when I was rewatching, I kind of felt like he was genuinely trying to protect him from speaking on anything that would incriminate him anymore. And I think that's justified by him going out after they're done talking and breaking the wire microphone and just throwing it out entirely and joining Team Simon essentially, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I love this scene, man. It was great. It was nice that Trevor, did kind of seem like he wanted to keep Simon from incriminating himself, because after something like that happening with Trevor witnessing it as well, like Simon would probably feel like he has to explain himself, at least in some way. And Trevor probably knew that and wants to say like, hey man, you don't have to talk about it right now. Like seriously, it's okay. And when he walks out there and snaps the recorder in two and throws it out, that was so great. I was so happy about that. Trevor has officially picked sides. He is officially one of the good guys. He is helping Simon. We got our duo officially. No funny business, no manipulation, none of that. Just two guys who care about each other and are enjoying each other's company.
Yeah, just two brothers.
Two brothers.
Just two brothers.
But during this talk, at the same time, unfortunately, Simon I think he kind of just gave up on himself. It's really hard to watch. And he's also just worried that if anyone found out about him using his powers, like to destroy the island or any other time he's used his powers, then he would never be able to work again. And that is just like a devastating reality that he would not want to live in. But, this is also part of the journey of the hero where they feel like they are not worthy of being the hero, or they don't believe that they could be who they want to be. It sucks, but it's part of the journey. But luckily, it's not over, because while Trevor is going out and breaking the microphone, he comes back and Simon got a call from Janelle. And this man is like halfway to passing out because he just got told he got a call back for Wonder Man, and his boy Trevor did too. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Yep. They made it. They made it the next step. This is exciting. This is really great. It was such a rough day for Simon, and this doesn't like change the fact that it was still a bad day for him overall, like for the most part, but it ended on a very good note for him. He can go to bed tonight thinking about,
He has hope.
yes, he has hope. He, like, very shortly after, like you mentioned, questioning his own capabilities and literally saying, I'm never going to be Wonder Man, within a couple minutes, he's proven wrong. He's shown that he has a chance, that there's still hope. So, man, I'm really happy for both of them.
Same. And also, during this chat, Simon mentions Damar Doorman Davis, who next episode we will meet in the episode Doorman. And this man will help us understand why super-powered people can no longer work in Hollywood. So let's get right into it. We open to a nightclub in Los Angeles in the mid to early 2010s, I would say, because Josh Gad mentions Imagine Dragons, one of the most important songs in the last 3 years. So that's got to be around that timeline. And Josh Gad is also playing himself in this episode, which is super cool.
Yeah, this is really cool. This is not the first time that they've had a celebrity or an actor in the show playing themselves. I've enjoyed it every time. It was really funny to see him on there.
Yeah, but we see Damar Davis, who will later become Doorman. Doorman's powers work pretty similarly to Spot's in the sense that like stuff can like phase through him and inside of him. It's like a pocket dimension, and like, but it's also like an infinite void of space at the same time that also kind of looks like the same space when Spot fell in himself. So that looks pretty cool, except this time, no all white skin, no face, and black portals. He just looks like a normal dude. So Damar got lucky there.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Some of the visuals for his powers and what he goes through are very cool. I really enjoy that part of it.
So yeah. But when Josh Gad pulls up, they're talking a little bit, and then he says this line to Damar: "If you're not busy, have a drink with me later." And then later on, when Doorman becomes more successful in his career and he comes back to the old stomping grounds, he says the exact same thing to the next door guy who's working in his job that he was working at in the past. So I thought that was a nice little callback.
Yeah, that was a nice callback, and I feel like there is a purpose to that, and I think there might be a deeper meaning to that, and I will get to that later on when we get to that part in the episode, because I don't want to spoil anything quite yet.
Yeah. So we get a little backstory on Damar, and he's just like a stable, loyal guy. He likes his job. He doesn't really want to climb the social ladder, the fame ladder, if you want to call it that. He's fine just being the doorman. So he's doing a trash run, and he runs into a trash bin that has Roxxon Corporation written on it and some slime oozing out of the trash bin. And initially I was like, there's no way they're doing symbiote here, right? Because this looks very venomy.
It does look very venomy. I thought it was the symbiote, the way that it was, like they showed it was moving, the color of it, the material of it. It looked a lot like the symbiote, but they did not go in that direction.
Yeah, so apparently every human gotta touch it. You just hate, like, you just have to touch it. Like what is gonna happen here? So he puts his hand in the ooze, and then his whole body ends up in the ooze, and then goes on an acid trip, and then wakes up in his house with his powers. That's best case scenario.
Yeah, it could have gone way worse for him, but yeah, I mean, still such a trippy experience.
Yeah, so his dog like phases through him, and he has to like break into the neighbor's apartment to get it. She throws a lamp or something through him, and he's just like, what the hell is going on today? And the trash bin's gone, so he will never get an answer as to how he got these powers, and he's still got to work the next day. So he's at work, and he's a bit out of it, as anyone would. And while he's outside, on the inside, Josh Gad is doing a DJ performance, and he's being very how would you call it, CJ? Dumb.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
He just pouring his scotch all over the DJ equipment, causing a fire to start. And earlier, when Damar was taking out the trash, it was pretty hard to open the door. And now that same door is not getting open at all. So that place needs to get sued like that.
Yeah, that is a lawsuit very quickly.
But because Doorman has door powers, he takes a chance and phases through the door, and he's like, hey guys, if you walk through me, you can get out of here. I can save you guys. And Josh Gad's like, okay, yeah, how do I do this? Do I just enter you? It's like, I don't know, just go. And it works. He gets everyone out, he saves everyone, and he's a hero. It's crazy.
Yeah, this was a pretty wild first use of his powers, like first intentional use of his powers, saving the entire nightclub from a burning building. Like it immediately makes him a celebrity. Everybody loves him for it. Josh
Yeah.
Gad loves him for it. I also like how Josh Gad wasn't like just a cameo in this episode. It like he
Yeah, he
actually
was
like
he was a whole character throughout
yeah
the
he was,
episode.
he plays a role in the plot too, and yeah, they do some really cool stuff with him. But yeah, this was an awesome scene. His first use of his powers, helping everybody out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and I like that it results in him getting a job with Josh Gad, basically joining his crew. And later, while Josh is working on a new movie, a guy named Frank comes up to Damar, who's just now in the crew. He's like, "Hey, you want to act? I work for the same agency that Janelle works for." He obviously doesn't know Janelle, I'm just saying. But Damar's like, "Nah, I don't want to act." But as soon as Josh and his crew are trying to figure out how to believably pull off a bank heist, obviously he thinks of making Doorman a character in the movie to get them out of the bank with the money by having people face through him.
Yeah, dude, he's reluctant to be in it. He doesn't want to do it at first. Josh convinces him to do it. He has like one line in it. And though his one line blows up, everybody loves him for it. He starts his whole new catchphrase. He says ding dong everywhere he goes now. And he is just an even bigger celebrity than he was for saving everyone's life.
Yeah, yeah. And honestly, if you do save people's lives and you're a good guy and you got powers, you should, be able to make a bit more money and capitalize on that.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah. So now Doorman's a celebrity, TV personality, and like you said, CJ, catchphrase, ding dong. But as time goes on, people are starting to make fun of him a little bit, not take him as seriously, which makes him a bit more desperate to do things for money. And he's also got alcohol issues. Like he goes on a talk show and it's just embarrassing for him. Like it reminded me of when Robert De Niro's character in The Joker brought Joker on to the talk show just to quote unquote make fun of him. Although luckily this went a lot better than that one.
Yeah, yes, that is true. Yeah, he didn't have to kill anybody on that one, so that's a plus. But his heart isn't in this performance at this talk show. They're poking fun at him. They're making fun of his bit, like in front of him. And he reluctantly goes along with the bit too because he just feels like this is his life now. This is what he does, and people loved him at first, and now it's starting to get a little bit stale, and people are starting to laugh at him and not with him.
Yeah. And after that, like he's just getting fired from commercials. He's just having more money issues. And his agent is telling him advice way too late. And then he gets sued by Potato Bag.
I made a mistake.
So now he has to be like, that's bad. That's really bad. I don't condone that. I don't want to be associated with that. But he's just caught up in more lawsuit stuff.
I mean, yeah, this went left very quickly for Damar, man. He was just like not too long ago, he was enjoying his life as a doorman, seemingly actually content with his life. Like he told his boss he was happy, and it seemed like he meant it. And then he has this fame thrust upon him because of some accident of him gaining powers, and now it leads to him just being a laughingstock, being completely ostracized, and getting sued. Like it went bad quick.
Yeah. So now he's just at rock bottom, and all hope seems lost for him at this point. But Josh Gad calls. Guess what, Damar? We're doing a sequel to Cash Grab. You're in. And this is like a blessing from God, because this could be a really good opportunity. It's the same movie that he blew up in. So now he could come back to fame again a little bit. And we cut to him waking up on set, and he is severely hungover and somehow like wired at the same time. It's not a good look.
Yeah, it's like he is hungover, but he's also still drunk, seemingly, or like still under the influence of something. Like he is not acting himself right now at all.
Yeah, and they're shooting one of the last scenes in the movie, seemingly, because it's when they're completing the heist. So they're getting the money out of the car and using Doorman, to get the stuff out. And whenever the stuff goes through him, it actually aggravates his hangover, making him want to throw up more. So when Josh goes through to complete the heist, Doorman throws up and Josh does not come back out. He's disappeared and gone forever. And now the Department of Damage Control is monitoring Doorman for the rest of his life. And the disappearance of Josh Gad is the reason that superpowered people can no longer perform in Hollywood. And at the same time, we see Simon watching the news report and he just looks petrified. I feel so bad for him.
Yeah, this was a very, very rough turning point for Simon in his career. Man, this episode, I'm surprised that we got a full episode dedicated to Doorman, but I really enjoyed it. I thought this was such a good episode.
Awesome.
It was so good. I just like the way that they like expressed how people get exploited by the industry and like how Hollywood will like chew you up and spit you out when they're done
And
with
then
you.
everyone else has to like be a victim of the circumstance, even though they did nothing to make that the situation.
Yeah, man. It spreads to other people too. And like the whole like thing about like the 15 minutes of fame, like people care about you one day and then they'll care about you for that day. And then after that day, they'll move on to something else to get them entertained now. And it's just like the cycle of like people getting built up and getting hyped up as like this is going to be great for you. This is good. You'll be able to live off this. But then people just decide like, no, we're over it. It's not working for us anymore. And like, what are you supposed to do then? You know, I feel like I've heard this from like retired athletes, professional athletes, or just athletes in general, people who have played sports a lot over their life. When you stop playing that sport, when it's such a crucial part of your life and you've been doing it for so long, it feels like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? Like this was such a pivotal aspect of my life and my experience as a person, and now that it's gone, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And I feel like Damar was kind of experiencing that in this episode as well.
Yeah, totally. Because like you mentioned before, he was content with his life, victim of an accident, and then he did a really good thing, and then an even better thing came from that thing, but then it got worse way after that, and it never got better. And it sucks because it's moments like these that like prove people like the Joker and the Green Goblin right.
To them, you're just a freak. Like me. They need you right now. When they don't, they'll cast you out. Like a leper.
In spite of everything you've done for them, eventually they will hate you.
Like their assumptions about humanity are like seen at full swing here.
Yeah, it's really it's tough, man. It sucks to say that they have a point, but sometimes they are proven to be correct.
Yep, but then that's why we need the heroes to remind those people that you can act differently and be better. You need to be that symbol of hope.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%.
That's why Superman did so well.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is a wrap for episodes 3 and 4 breakdown. I really like these episodes. They definitely added a lot of context to the story, and now I feel like the story is only going to be picking up from here. More action, more conflict, and I'm really excited to see it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we hope to see you guys on the next episode of the Sci-Fi Zone. Peace.